Hi class, we are going to be discussing atoms and elements today. We're starting on chapter 4. Elements and symbols. So elements are pure substances from which all other things are built. They cannot be broken down into simpler substances. They're listed in the front cover of the text, which you probably do not have the text. You probably have an ebook. They are listed on the periodic table, and I put a picture up. You can see a periodic table of elements. So the elements that we're talking about are all the elements on the periodic table, and there's about 118 elements, but we tend to only focus on a certain amount of them. Excuse me. So they are pure substances. In their form, you cannot break them down into anything else. If you break them down into anything else, then you start getting into the subatomic particles, which we'll cover later on, and then they are no longer an actual element. So for instance, if we have iron, we can break it apart, but if we get into the actual subatomic particle level, then we're no longer dealing with excuse me, an iron atom, and then it's no longer what we consider. So elements, they are the purest substances, cannot go any further than that on these and breaking them apart. Here are some names. We have uranium. You can see where some of these are named after certain people, mythology, colors, and so forth. They're all, I was told that one is actually named after somebody's dog on the periodic table. I don't know how true that is, but you can see Tennessee is on here. There's a bunch. They tend to be some of the later ones and not the ones that we deal with on a regular basis. But they're named after all different sorts of things, different languages, and so forth. Chemical symbols. So if you look at the periodic table, you see chemical formulas. These are the symbols. These represent that compound. So here we have that element, excuse me. So it represents the name of the element. It either consists of one letter or two. And if it consists of two letters, the second letter is always lowercase, and all first letters are always capitalized. So if you take a look here, I'll look at this one, try to run away. One letter symbols is carbon. It's with the C. You can see it's right here. Nitrogen is right next to it. Fluorine is in the same row, and oxygen is in between. Cobalt is not the same as carbon and oxygen. So if you write C and an O, you would write two capital letters. Here we have a lowercase. That is important when you write these out, that it can be distinguished. If it can't be distinguished, it would be wrong. I would mark it wrong. Because if you write carbon and oxygen and what you meant was cobalt, those are three completely different substances. Cobalt is right here, calcium here, and aluminum is in here somewhere, right there, and magnesium is right there. So second letter is always lowercase. First letter on both, one or two letters, is always capitalized. Again, here is a list of some names and some symbols, and not all of them go by what might seem obvious to you. For instance, iron, excuse me, has an Fe as a symbol. It's from ferrum. I believe this is Latin. Lead is Pb. Silver is Ag. Potassium is a K. So some of these are a little difficult in the beginning to understand, but as we go through them more, they will become more and more, it's repetitive. The more we work with them, the more you'll just instinctively know what these elements are. So again, gold is Au and silver is Ag. Write the correct symbols for each of the following elements. So we have iodine. So here we have a chart, and we can go to iodine. If we go to iodine, it's an I. So iodine would be I. Now we have iron. I already discussed iron, but we can find iron here, and it's an Fe. And now we have magnesium. So let's see if we can find magnesium on here. Magnesium is an M, a capital M, and a lowercase g. And then we have zinc. And zinc is all the way at the end here, and it's two letters, and N is lowercase. Oh, I put these together on accident. Okay, and nitrogen is right here, and it is capital N. Give the names of the elements with the following symbols. So let's test out writing these out. So we have a P. P stands for phosphorus. Here it is. So P is the symbol for phosphorus. And now we have an Al. and it's right here, aluminum. Some of these are really noticeable, and then some of them are not. Aluminum, so we will write out aluminum. And Mn. Now, Mn is not to be confused with magnesium, and it sometimes is. Magnesium is Mg. Manganese is Mn. And H is hydrogen. And K is one that I pointed out earlier. It is potassium. Even though it's a K, it's potassium. These are taken from other languages. Okay, so this is a introduction into getting familiar with the elements that we will be using. It is a repetitive. There are certain things that you need to learn and memorize. We will go through exercises with this that eventually most of these you won't even have to think about. You'll just know them. And some of them you should definitely keep something around that has a list that helps you, that you can look at, keep near you as you do your work on these. Okay, thank you.